Gonna have to stroke number 1. I haven't even started. Gonna have to give him a clean as soon as I get my cloth out. But good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. I had to take Wednesday off because, well, from work that is, because I just absolutely felt like shit. I am safe in saying now that I think the worst of it is over, though I've still got some remnants of a cough, but I've got something to deal with that as well. And now I get to relive the horrifying experience of finding out just how shit medicine tastes when you take it. Think Calpol when you were a kid. But of course you didn't come here to find out about my nightmares become reality. But I must admit, I've been struggling to think about what I was going to talk about next. But you know what? There is something we do need to talk about. Let's first and foremost have a brief mention of Tommy Robinson, because there have been a lot of people, NPCs in the left in particular, who like to call him, obviously, Tommy 10 names and what have you, or even call him a grifter. But I put this question to you folks. If Tommy Robinson was really a grifter, surely he should be in jail long before now, right? Right? If he's really this grifter who's conned people out of money, then surely Tommy Robinson would at least be facing quite a few legal cases and possibly jail time for fraud. And while I accept there have been instances where Tommy has been jailed for fraud, I've already explained them, or the main one, the mortgage fraud, which nobody even lost a single fucking penny. Companies still got paid out and what have you. And it was only because Tommy filled out a mortgage fraud wrong. Now, you want to call him that, that's fair enough, you do you. But I think there is one person who ironically fits the fitting title of 10 names rather than Tommy, and a person who I would most definitely say is a big fucking grifter right now. And his name is Keir, the traitor Starmer. Because it turns out, Keir the traitor Starmer has claimed around 100 grand in freebies. Those kinds of freebies would be enough to see even a Saudi diplomat blush. Now I'm curious as to what that looks like underneath all the clothes that they wear on their head. Anyway, he's been claiming 100 grand in freebies, including football match tickets and what have you. So while Keir the traitor Starmer is sending our taxpayer money to Ukraine to the tune of £600 million, and the fact that we are having to pay our taxpayer money to the tune of £9 million a day to house illegal immigrants that have no legal or human right to be here, Keir the traitor Starmer is claiming 100 grand in freebies. Oh fuck, I've told the truth, everyone run for it! Run! Oh, they're not really after me. Oh well, it gave me a good exercise. Anyway, the point is, Keir the traitor Starmer has been taking far more liberties than he actually deserves. He is basically pissing the taxpayers' money up the wall while taking freebies and making the elderly suffer. And please bear in mind, my dear 84-year-old nan is losing out on this winter fuel payment as well. Well, you keep claiming those liberties, Keir the traitor Starmer, and when push comes to shove, we'll claim our liberties from you. I've mentioned the point many times before, but I will just say it again for old time's sake. How sad is it that people like Tony Blair, yes, Tony the war criminal Blair, are being held in a marginally higher level of respect opposed to Keir the traitor Starmer? How sad is that? How sad is it that we have more respect, although not much, admittedly, for a person like Harold Shipman compared to Keir the traitor Starmer? Maybe I should have a go at giving Keir the traitor Starmer 10 names. Shall we begin? So let's get the obvious one out of the way. Keir the traitor, penny pinching, winter fuel stealing, freeloading, freebie swiping, sectarianist, fascistic, disrespectful, communist, bullshitting Starmer. I believe that was 10 names. And unlike what they try to call Tommy Robinson, all the names I've mentioned about Keir the traitor Starmer are factual. I might as well start wearing a suit, put on a tie, get that weird-ass hairdo that he's got, put on a slightly bigger set of spectacles, shrink my bollocks a little bit. Well, I probably might have a hard time with that one. Anyway, shrink my bollocks down, and I'd probably be able to make a perfect impression of Keir the traitor Starmer, and of course, do some of this. Look like one person rather than two. But I could, if I actually put some serious effort in, I could actually imitate Keir the traitor Starmer, and all I'd need to do is go to like one of these fucking trees here, have a wad of cash in one hand, my dick in the other, and start pissing up that tree. And that is literally a perfect impression of Keir the traitor Starmer right there. Maybe I'll add a communist uniform for some brownie points. Keir the traitor Starmer represents everything that is wrong with this country. It really does take a special brand of evil to claim 100 grand in free gifts, to send our money off to people who potentially do not deserve it in Ukraine, which Russia, I think, is winning this war, is the cold, bitter truth. And when shit goes south, there's going to be a World War III, which may see the end of Vladimir Putin, but he will have accomplished what he needed to do. That doesn't mean I'm saying Putin's a good man, far from it. What I am saying, though, is it's pretty obvious that Putin is winning this war against them, but the mainstream media keep pushing this tirade of anti-Putin bollocks out, just like they keep trying to defend Keir the traitor Starmer. But it takes a special brand of evil to send 600 million off to Ukraine, but you can't be bothered to part with 300 quid for the pensioners. Now, if you divide 600 million pounds, just take the noughts off. I can do some very simple math with you and walk you through it. So take off all the zeros on both ends. Or in fact, no, just leave the 600 and the 300 and take the rest of the zeros off. So take 4 zeros off the 600 million, because there's obviously 6, 3 zeros is 6,000, and then another 3 is 6 million. Now, obviously, divide 600 by 300 is 2. Well, 600 divided by 300 is 2, and then you just add 4 noughts on the end of it. You could pay for 20,000 people's pension with that shit, maybe even more. Actually, no, sorry, that's not correct, because I've actually forgotten 2 other zeros. I was doing fucking 6 million. Christ! So 20,000, stick another 2 zeros on there. That's 2 million people's homes that you could easily afford with that 600 million. 2 million pensioners able to live with heating with 600 million pounds. But you'd rather send that to Ukraine. 2 million pensioners. I can't stress that enough. But of course the mainstream media won't tell you this. You know the drill, folks, because say it with me, it doesn't suit the narrative. And then let's not also forget the fact that, as I said, £9 million of our taxpayer money is going to illegal immigrants who we don't know who they are, we don't know where they're from, we don't know what their intentions are, and we don't even know if they're going to be a benefit. Most of them won't be, I can assure you that much, free of charge. And then on top of those 2 things, as I said, he's claiming the 100 grand's worth of freebies. Then on top of all that, he's trying to project all blame and accountability onto one of 2 parties, the Tory party or the so-called far right. Well, as I've said before, Keir the traitor Starmer, you can't keep blaming all your problems on the supposed far right and the Tories, because at the end of the day, a lot of these people do not even get involved in some of the shit you're trying to blame them for. Were the far right responsible for the riots? Were the Tory parties responsible for the riots? Was Nigel Farage responsible for the riots? Was Tommy Robinson responsible for all the riots? Well, for all 4 of those, I can give you exactly the same 2-letter answer. And it's not yes, it's no. At no point has anybody called out for these riots to take place or for violence to take place. I'll tell you what Tommy's done. He's advocated for peace far more than any other career politician has ever done in their fucking lives. God, now I'm getting a fucking earful. An earful from the bus driver who's like, oh, well, there are children on this bus. You should stop swearing. Yeah, the children have gone off, mate. Anyway, enough about that guy. He's an NPC. I'm not going to be taking orders from some person who thinks he's better than everyone else. The bottom line in all this is Keir the traitor Starmer has been taking every liberty for himself while taking every liberty from everyone else. He has deliberately tried to blame everyone else for all of his problems that he's created, including what could now be the false £22 billion black hole scenario of debt. But we're all supposed to just accept that the far right are responsible for these riots and for all the problems that are going on, when it's absolutely not the case. And at this point, I'm willing to say what you will about Rishi the Slippery Sunak. At least the guy wasn't trying to steal from the pensioners. At least he wasn't trying to blame everyone else for the problems he created. And at least he wasn't blaming the supposed far right for some of the other shit that went down in this country. I think a full investigation needs to be put in to Keir the traitor Starmer to see how much more he's claimed in freebies, how much more he has given away to help his wife get her expensive clothes and what have you. And let's find out where his money's going. Because he put on this massive speech about we should know where the Prime Minister's money is going. Yeah, well now you're the Prime Minister. Put your money where your mouth is, Keir the traitor Starmer, and let's see where that money is going that you're getting. Let's also see the money that these Labour MPs are getting. Oh wait, we already know what they get salary-wise. They get around 91 grand, and double that in expenses paid by us, the taxpayer. And 3 grand for their winter fuel or their heating allowance. Don't know why this is rocking so much. Anyway, they get 3 grand to heat their own homes. Yet they won't give up, I don't know, 2,700 of it to help 9 other grannies and grandpas heat their homes. It blows the mind, it really does. It's almost as sickening as listening to the BBC get angry at people who are pissed off, quite rightly, at Hugh Degenerate Edwards getting a suspended sentence. They call it a slap on the wrist. I don't even call it that. I call it a pat on the back. Job well done, getting away with nonsense. Because a slap on the wrist would imply they're getting some kind of punishment, but are getting mostly let off scot-free. This is practically Hugh Degenerate Edwards getting off of the whole fucking crime, whether people want to accept it or not. Having to attend therapy? May as well be attending the job centre. And this nonsense about 6 months in prison, he'll probably only serve half that, and he doesn't even have to serve it all straight away. He only needs to serve it in 2 years' time. So, yeah, forgive me if I don't say it's a slap on the wrist, but more a pat on the back. But why is it people like him should walk free, while people who shout at police, or post memes on the internet, or growl at a dog, why are they getting anything from nearly 2 years to 5 years in prison? And that's a custodial sentence, not a suspended sentence. That's something, of course, the mainstream media are going to be very reluctant to tell you. And remember, Keir the traitor Starmer was even considering being Jimmy Savile's lawyer. You know, Tiny Cockosaurus Rex. Yeah, him.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. The way I look at things, Keir the traitor Starmer will get exactly what's coming to him. It's just a matter of time. Not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. There is no shot that man stays on for 5 years. I don't think the British public will allow it. It'll either be he resigns and somebody else takes his place, or the British public will force him out. That is, of course, if his MPs don't do the same first. Keir the traitor Starmer may think he is safe in his little seat of power, but I can assure you of this much. There is no way he is safe in that position, no matter how high and mighty he thinks himself. I'll be back in a biz. Right, that's my evening sorted. So, how long will this last me? Probably about 5 seconds. Probably resolve all my life problems in about temporarily at least, for 5 minutes. And then I'll go back to crying myself to sleep. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, Keir the traitor Starmer has no credibility being our Prime Minister. He has about as much credibility as a Prime Minister as I have being a fitness instructor. Don't worry guys, you can take this round off. We'll do these exercises tomorrow and then repeat every fucking day. But I digress. He will never serve the British people. Never. The only thing he's interested in is serving his bank stroke number 2, or was it 3? I can't remember now. Where I've basically tried to say that Keir the traitor Starmer was only interested in serving his bank balance and, of course, his puppet masters in Davos and the WEF. I can think of a whole bunch of people who could probably run the country better than Keir the traitor Starmer. Mind you, I think just about everyone in this fucking country could do that. Some people have even suggested I run the country, but frankly, I don't think I'm ready for such a huge responsibility. And I'd probably be too distracted by a few other pleasantries I'd like to divulge in, and you've already seen one bag. Oh, what poison have they put through here this time, I wonder? Right, no more blue light. I was just checking the letterbox just to make sure there wasn't any shit in there. But no, I can safely say there are no TV licensing letters, no threatening letters from the police and what have you, even though I probably deserve them at this point. And of course, nothing untowards. But the way I slice this whole situation is it all stinks of shit to me. And not the nice kind. It stinks to hell and back. I'm surprised Satan hasn't lodged a complaint to 10 Downing Street, quite frankly. Because Keir the traitor Starmer doesn't just pollute this planet, he pollutes downstairs and upstairs as well, if you catch my drift. He is a man who has less morals than a completely bankrupt, morally bankrupt, that is, bank clerk. He has even less credibility than Carol Plastic Tits Vorderman, who used to be someone respectable in her appearances in Countdown, but now is more a narcissistic windbag who basically can't cobble together a decent fucking story. And of course, he has less integrity than that of my plumbing. But I digress on that. I may not give this guy the time of day. I tell you what I would give this guy: a pan to the face, quite frankly. Because that's all he deserves. He deserves the pan, and he deserves kicking out of the houses of treachery. I mean Parliament. Or maybe I was right first time. Of course, I'm not going to physically give him this, because obviously that would get me arrested. But it is something that I do think he would well and truly deserve, but I'm not going to advocate or condone that shit. The cold, bitter truth is that man, anything that happens to him, he only has himself to blame. Just like the police have only themselves to blame if anything decides to go awry because of their treachery on the 26th of October. That's the way I look at things right now. Keir the traitor Starmer is probably getting a little bit nervous with the idea that Donald Trump, after facing his second assassination attempt on his life, he's extremely worried that Donald Trump is going to get into power, and he's not just going to MAGA, he's going to make Britain great again as well. And what do you think Keir the traitor Starmer's chances of staying in power will be once Donald Trump's in there? Not very high is what I reckon, quite frankly. But those are, of course, my humble opinions. But I don't think he's going to last a year. He certainly won't last 5. And that is whether the Labour Party kick him out, whether it's he decides to resign and he jumps before he's pushed, or if the British people decide we've had enough and we take out the trash and place it in the dustbin of history. But there is no fucking way, in this lifetime or my next, that he is staying in power for long. Way I look at it, he's got a better chance of winning the lottery. He's got a better chance of winning a bet of me going to the moon in a rocket. He sure as shit ain't got any hope whatsoever of lasting 5 years. Mind you don't need me to tell you that. Just look at his approval ratings. Just look at what he's done to this country. He's done in 2 months what other politicians could only dream of doing in 2 decades. Keir the traitor Starmer is the only person who deserves to be in a jail cell right now. Not Elon Musk, not Tommy Robinson, not Paul Thorpe, not Maya Toosey, not myself, not the people who have been taken political prisoner for being far right and growling at dogs and shouting at police while nonces get to walk free. Only Keir the traitor Starmer deserves to be in prison for treachery, for fraud, for basically embezzling the money he gets and the freebies he gets into his own pocket. I could think of a few other crimes he should be charged on. Crimes against humanity and their human rights, breaching, in particular, Article 10 of the Human Rights Act, the right to have free speech. Yet because Keir the traitor Starmer is our Prime Minister right now, our police don't have the balls, whether up here or down there, or in my case both, to actually do something about it. Well, at the end of the day, they have to make a choice, the British police. They can continue to serve a dictator, or again, maybe I was right first time. They can choose to serve a dictator who would rather beseech his subjects rather than do his civic duty of protecting and serving the whole country, not just one section of it, like a sectarianist bastard. Or they can do the honourable thing, the integrable thing. Maybe it'll cost their jobs, but you know what? At least they'll be on the right side of history. If they choose to get Keir the traitor Starmer out of that office and in a new place, which he rightfully deserves, which has all the furnishings he ever needs. A toilet, a sink, a bed, and he gets a nice little bit of protection thanks to some rolled iron bars and a securely locked cage.